Hello, my people. How are you doing? Jumping on here real quick. Not necessarily looking for, not necessarily looking for a large live audience, but if you are watching live, go ahead and share it. But I just jumped on here quick. Just left a school board meeting for Alachua County Public Schools, and there's some information that we really need to have. There's some more information that I received that's not really directly connected to what we're talking about, but I'll mention it later. But I think we have a real problem. Think we have a real problem, and so um, there's some information that I'm going to share with you. And again, if you're watching, go ahead and share the post. But there's some information that I'm going to share with you, and I'm hoping that you will receive this information, and then that you'll begin to make your voice known. It we got to make sure that we look out for our own. And sometimes when we elect public officials, we forget that we still have to hold them accountable. Because in many instances, what they can do is get so focused on staying in the position to where they can lose focus on items that we discussed in order to get elected. And then that's where we have to hold them accountable. We kind of did that, when Barack Obama became president. We were so it was just so amazing to have a black president that that we didn't press hard for our agenda, and others got their agendas taken care of and addressed. But we didn't do the same. And so here in Gainesville, we worked really hard in Alachua County. There was some stuff that DeSantis and some other folk did back a few years ago. I think it was from the 2018 election, and it went and pulled one. And we had three black females elected to a 5-member board, and then they played some games and then went and pulled one of our school board members, and then we really couldn't get anything done differently than what was being done in Alachua County. Alachua County has the largest achievement gap in the state of Florida. And so we worked real hard the last election. And we went back and we got an all-female school board, 3 black females, and but can I tell you, you all, I see some of the same things coming. 2 years ago, when I came to pastor at Greater Bethel here in Gainesville, came here in November of 2020, and soon after went to the school district. And I shared with them that I noticed the superintendent at that time was Dr. Carly Simon, and she was caught up in this fight with the governor of the state of Florida over masks. And so I went to tell them, I see the fight that you're doing, but don't get distracted, because we have the largest achievement gap between black students and their peers in the state of Florida, and we need to go address it. And it's been that way. It was determined in 2018 that black students were 3 grades behind their peers in Alachua County public schools. And so I stressed that, hey, we got to get our eyes off of this mass fighting, and we need to address this achievement gaps. And so they used COVID, they used that fight, and they didn't address it. And so recently I've gone and I pulled the scores from the 2021-2022 school year, and it's not getting any better. And so I've gone and I've addressed the school district. One thing that when I pointed out that there was a school that was closed down, and I warned that when they allow our schools to fail, then they put our schools in a position so that they can then close them down. And I warned that it was done with Duval Elementary School back in 2015, and where they closed it down. They made it an early learning academy for VPK or whatnot, and then eventually they just shut it down. And so you have a whole neighborhood with no school in it. And so I warned that the same practices that were done then, we're going to see. We're setting ourselves up for Lake Forest and other schools to go, Rawlins, to go through the same type of closure. And that we needed to be sure. One of the board members said, well, I want to make a correction, that it was not because of low performance or underperformance that Duval was closed. It was because of under enrollment. And so what I went and did is I went and actually pulled the article from February 24, 2015, where the superintendent Roberts was quoted. He says he plans to repurpose at the under-enrolled and low-performing Duval Elementary School into an early education center, serving area students in the kindergarten and younger. The two paragraphs next later it says Duval has lost 54% of its enrollment over the past 6 years due to Florida school choice law, which allows families to move their children out of failing schools. So the reality was it was low enrollment because it was underperforming, and so the school district needed to do a better job at making sure that our schools performed. I mean, there's money that goes to school districts, and the return on that money is the success and performance of our students. And if we're not performing, they're wasting money. And so I think the thought is that there's not a very high expectation level in our school district for Black students. And so I got some information that I'm going to share with you. Um, I'm going to share some information with you about where our students are today. And so hopefully you can see what I'm showing you now. But basically, it says it's from the Florida Department of Education. It says closing the gap, and it says goals for closing the gap. It is essential that all students are provided an opportunity to achieve their highest academic, professional, and life goals, regardless of race, ethnicity, disability, economic status, or native language. Florida is working hard to ensure that each and every student has the opportunity by improving the performance of all students while also closing the achievement gap through the implementation of system level strategies and by measuring and tracking key performance metrics. That's what the state education, Florida Department of Education says. But that ain't what's happening in Alachua County. And it doesn't seem to even bother us. And so what I warned them of 2 weeks ago on the school board, now you're about to get caught up in a zoning conversation. So, a couple of weeks ago, they brought up the idea of rezoning. And that's a hot button topic. And so now they're about to bring up a zoning issue when priority needs to be getting headed in a direction that closes the achievement gap, because that's going to be another excuse, just like the mask was, that we don't focus on a real serious issue. And I'm a believer that the academic achievement gap is directly related to the wealth gap, and I'll show you that later. But here I pulled some numbers so that you have real numbers. And what I did, you can see where I have some graphs, and the graphs basically show a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 year trend. And so the first one is English. And so the achievement gap in the state for English, we're just going to use 2021, is 28%. Well, in Alachua County, it's 45%. And so what the graph is the graph that we're looking at right now. It's showing that only 25% of Black students in Alachua County are performing at grade level, are proficient at their grade level. Only 25%. Any other place, this right here would be emergency. Well, we got a school district don't see this right here as emergency. Only 25%. The gap between Black students and their peers is 45%. At the state, is 28%, and that's big. But in Alachua County, it's 45% in English. Let me show you the next page. The next page that we're looking at, the next page is math. And so in math, it's even high. There's a 46% achievement gap. At the state, it's 31% between Black students and their peers. In Alachua County, it's 46%, the achievement gap between Black students and their peers. The average Black student in Alachua County in 2021 is performing at the Black students are performing at a 22% proficiency level. So that means that only 22% are performing at proficiency level. And so if only 22% are proficient, that means 78% are less than proficient Black students in Alachua County. In the entire county, Black students in Alachua County are are less than they're less than 78%. They're only 22 at 22% proficiency. The achievement gap is 46%. That's huge, my people. That's extremely huge. That should be an emergency situation, but I don't think they look at it that way. Not from here in the conversation that I heard tonight. And so when we look at science, the achievement gap in science in 2021, 2022 is 51%. In 2014, it was 48. And now it's up to 51. It's getting worse. 2014, 48. 2015, 49. 2016, 47. 2017, 48. 2018, 49. 2020, 50. And now 51%. It's growing. It's growing because we're not addressing the issue. We keep finding distractions, things to be distracted about, instead of really addressing this issue. And I'm going to tell you, the achievement gap is going to be a reflection of the wealth gap. It is what it is now. And this county, this school board doesn't seem to be concerned about the achievement gap in our students. And I said, that's science. Let me show you another one. And these are facts. This public information. In social studies, the achievement gap is 49%. It's only 24% in the state, but it's double in Alachua County. It's double in Alachua County. That's not good. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing that you can brag about that. But one thing that you can do when you rezone, you can go and pull from here and sprinkle some of those people that you don't have high expectation for there and there and there. And that way it doesn't make the whole school look bad. And so now you got children that are not prepared because all you did was just try to hide them in a larger group. But this is not a good thing, you all. And we can't allow our students to be dealt with like this. Okay, let me show you another. Let me show you another page. Okay, so this right here is the graduation rate. Now this is the big spinner right here. So the graduation rate, our achievement gap is not much more than the state. Ours is 13.5% between Black students and their peers. So wow, they're graduating with a diploma in 4 years, but all the other information says they're not learning. And so Alachua County knows how to get them out of the schools, to get them in and get them out in 4 years, but they're not getting them out with the proper education. They're not getting them out to where they're proficient in English, math, reading, science, social studies. They're not proficient, but they know how to get them out. So they must not be too concerned with what they're learning. I mean, we see it right here. Graduation rate is, hey, we graduation, there's really not a big gap in the graduation rate, but in what they're learning, the gaps are huge. 50%, 51%. And so we got a serious problem, but our school board doesn't seem to, other things are a lot more important than actually closing that achievement gap and making sure that our children are learning. I brought up this one right here because one would think that Black students are they're ignorant. They can't learn. And so I got a school right here with 100% enrollment of Black students, and it's a public school. It's not a private. It's a public charter school, and so they have the same standards. And so Caring and Sharing Learning Center, when I look at their scores from last year, 2021, 2022, we see right here to where the subgroup grades out at an A. The school, it's an A school. All right. And in English, the indicator is an A. We see A up top, A down bottom. We see now this is all Black students, the same demographic. These are all Black students that we're talking about. And who's able to can our students just not learn? Are they just not intelligent enough to learn? Or is the school system that they're in not committed to learning what it takes to connect the families and the schools and get the achievement, get the production from our students? And so here, we Caring and Sharing Learning School, in English, 74% are proficient. In mathematics, 74% are proficient. Even the lowest quartile that we see down here, the lowest quartile still had 83% learning gains in English. The lowest quartile in mathematics had 100% gains. The lowest quartile in science had 65%. These are gains with the lowest quartile, but they're at 74% achievement, to where when we saw those other statistics in the county, they were at 21%, 24% achievement. Here at Caring and Sharing, these are the same students. These are Black students at the Caring and Sharing Learning School. they're doing well. These kids are they compete. They're competing with they're competing with the best in Alachua County. But in Alachua County, which graded out as a B district, what I did is pulled out the black students that's in the Alachua County public schools, pulled the black students out of their numbers and put just the black students. And with just the black students, that B grade would be a D, that subgroup. The achievement level would go back down to 20. Well, we already saw the numbers: 26% in English, 24% in mathematics. We already saw the numbers. But the overall indicator says that it's an F. And those that are at the third grade level, because that's when they decide how many prisons that they're going to build. Over at Care and Sharing, ain't no need in building prisons, because at grade 3, the indicators in English and reading is that these kids are on level, 79%, at grade level or above. That's an A. But over in the Alachua County schools, it's an F. And so for the kids that are in that system, that says that we need to go ahead and get some more prisons built, because that's it. Those are indicators that they determine when they're building prisons. And so it appears to me, and I'm just sharing information, that while this one school is taking the same demographics and preparing them for success, this other system is preparing them for a school to prison pipeline. And I sat here and listened to a board meeting, which I had to come on tonight, where board members said there's nothing we can do. we hire superintendent hire principal. There's nothing we can do. Come on, we gotta be no. When I voted for y'all, I was hoping that y'all could be a part of the solution, and not say that we can do it. Now we go put all our attention on things that are not even a priority. It says here, it is essential. Let me go back to the one that I can read. For the education in the state of Florida, it is essential that all students are provided an opportunity to achieve their highest academic, professional, and life goals, regardless of race, ethnicity, disability, economic status, or native language. Florida is working hard. Alachua County is in Florida. Florida is working hard to ensure that each and every student has the opportunity by improving the performance of all students while also closing the achievement. We ain't trying to close the achievement gap. The achievement gap is getting wider in Alachua County. And so that statement right there doesn't apply for Alachua County. A lot of people might get upset because you say, well, you shouldn't say things like this right here because, we got all these black elected officials. I don't care what the elected official. I care about the performance of our students. And it's the job of the board to make sure that we have an environment, that's conducive to learning. Had a board member say, I can't do anything about the fights. I can't do anything about that. We have a principal there. Come on, we got to figure, we as a group, we got to figure out how to get this. They can't even learn if the school is dealing with behavior the entire time. And we got to take accountability. We got to hold our people accountable. We got to make sure that the right principal is put in a school. And that principal understand who needs to be hired and what system needs to be in place in order for it to be successful. We have same students, 2 different institutions. One, A, other, D. One, when we look at performance indicators for 3rd grade, which is how we determine how many prisons we're going to build, one A, the other an F. Alachua County schools, school to prison pipeline in full effect. Don't get so caught up. I'm a Democrat, but I could care less about Democrat or Republican. I care about my people. Don't get so caught up in who the people are. We have to hold the people accountable. And the reason I'm able to do that, because I really don't care who I offend. I care about putting our children in a position to be successful. And so this is my suggestion. My suggestion is that Duval Elementary School, the school that they closed down in 2015, took out of a whole neighborhood that's there right now. And there's some after-school programs being running there. The successful school that the school district offers an incentive to allow the successful school to have a satellite campus at this school that sits in the middle of a huge black community and allow them to do what they're successful at. allow caring and sharing to come on that campus and run a school. The after school program, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But they need to allow a school in that community. They're just sending those kids out to Metcalf and Rollins and sending those kids out, and they're further away from their family. They're further away from their home. These kids could literally walk to school if you allowed a successful school to come and educate our children there again. And they're successful. They have a track record of success. We have a track record of failure in Alachua County Public Schools when it deals with educating Black children. It makes all the sense in the world for them to do everything they can to try to get caring and sharing to open up a satellite campus, and they need to offer some incentives, because right now they're failing, and caring and sharing could actually make them, because it's a public school, and so their numbers are counted. Alachua County gets to count those numbers and to allow them in. And then the second thing they have to do, because they will always educate more children than caring and sharing, go and be humble enough to see what caring and sharing is doing. See what they're doing, and then implement those policies, implement that model at our schools that have a majority Black population, if they truly care about our students. I told you that the wealth gap is connected to the achievement gap. We saw achievement gaps in education from 48 to 51%, 52%. Check this out right here. This is the median household income from our census. I think it was 2018. This is the median household income. This right here, the top one is Alachua County. We see the median household income for whites is somewhere, around 51,000. For Asians, it's somewhere around 46, 47. But for Blacks, it's 26,000. This is Alachua County, 26,600. This right here, the one on the bottom, is the state. The median household income for Blacks in the state is larger, 34. And so the gap between that median household income is larger in Alachua County than it is for the state. No, it's some stuff that we're not getting right. And we got to get out of the business of blue and red following political fights. There's some stuff that blue wants that ain't good for our community. And there's some stuff that red wants that ain't good for our community. We have to learn to fight for what's best for our community and stop following folk that could care less about our community. These numbers aren't good, but I just showed you there's a 51% gap in the median household income. That's 51%. That 26,000 to the 51,000. That's 52. That's about 52,000, 53,000. That's 51%. I told you those achievement gaps were 48 to 51% in Alachua County. It's connected. We need to do better by our students and hold our elected officials accountable to put our schools in a place by hiring the right people and using the right models so that our students can be successful. They've already proven that they can be successful. They're proving it at caring and sharing. So that's all I have. I want you to share this information. I want you to share this information. I want you to get it out there and push it. Keep sharing and sharing and sharing. We got to go to the school board meetings. Next week, we're going to put together a little bullet of a presentation where you have this information as well as some talking points, because we're going to have to press our school officials. They're ready to go full force. The school superintendent actually recommended that the new superintendent Andrews that they not go forward with rezoning because it's not together. They're doing what's called spot zoning as opposed to a comprehensive. But they're so interested in getting this done because they're just interested in another distraction, a distraction from dealing with the real issue. We were told there's nothing we can do about the behavior. Our hands are tied. They don't want to deal with the issue, but we can press them. And so look next week for me. I'll post some a packet that you can use and go and talk to the school board and talk at the meetings, push them privately. But we got to do something about this, y'all. We can't just let this happen like this. They're failing our students. And yeah, we love them. Many of them look like us, but they're still failing our students. Are we committed to the friendships and the relationships? Are we committed to making sure that we give our students and our children an opportunity to be successful? Our board members are great people. Just a little bit thrown off course right now. All right, that's all I have. Go ahead and share it. God bless you and have a great one.